What's happening, guys? Well, today we're going to go ahead and do our Z590 Intel 11900K build, and we're going to see how all that works out when we get it put together. But today's video is strictly going to be unboxing everything and putting the machine together. So stick around here for a second and we'll get started on that in a minute.
If you haven't already done so, please click the like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment below. Thanks.
Alright, so our components, as some of you already know, of course, I have the RTX 3090 Kingpin edition from EVGA. That'll be our video card. We've got 32 gigs of Thermaltake TOUGHRAM DDR4 4400 megahertz memory, so that should be pretty fast for gaming. We'll see how that goes. Plus, I think it looks really nice. I've got a Sabrent Rocket 2TB NVMe solid state drive. This is a Gen 3 drive, not a Gen 4 drive, because we don't really need to go crazy and spend an extra $200 for the same capacity. Then of course we have our 11900K processor from Intel. We have the Asus ROG Maximus 13 Hero Edition motherboard. That's supposed to be a pretty nice motherboard. It's got Thunderbolt 4, some other nice features, so we'll see how that goes. And we're going to be using my existing Tough Power Thermaltake power supply, 1500 watt titanium edition. We have a Phanteks Glacier 1 280mm all-in-one cooler, and we have some nice custom Formula Mod extension cable kit to kind of make the cables a bit more aesthetic than this ketchup and mustard stuff, which I actually think looks okay. But again, for this build, we're kind of going for a color theme, which is sort of this color theme here, which is the anthracite gray color, as they call it. And then finally, our case is a Phanteks 719, and it's still back there in the big box. It's too large to fit on the table. It's monstrous. That said, I'm going to go ahead and start getting everything out of the box and start putting things together. Hey guys, alright, so we finally got this finished, or at least it's all put together. Whether or not it's going to work or not, we'll have to wait and see. Maybe I messed up some wiring somewhere, but this is definitely a big case, holy smokes. But it's, despite being huge and roomy, because of one component that I purchased, it ended up being hard to work in. And the reason for that is that I bought that 280mm Glacier 1 instead of a 360, and the reason for that is the 360s were not available when I ordered it, or they were like third-party scalped, or you'd have to wait for a while to get one for sure. So I figured the 280 would be sufficient and didn't really think I'd have any problems working in a big case like this with it. But the problem is the top of the system. If you put it up there, because the fans are, because of the width of it, the fans bump into your RAM, so you can't put it up there. You can't put it back, you can't put it forward, wherever it is. At least one fan will be bumping into your memory, and thus it's impossible to mount the fans on it. You can get the radiator up there, but you can't get the fans up there. And even though, like, here's something I thought was really quite annoying, because of the system I'm used to working in, you can set up like a push-pull, and you can actually put like fans above the case more or less, and then the cover just covers that up and the air can still escape. There's like draft or vents. This has the vents, but the way that the top is designed is it's impossible to get anything in there underneath it. So I mean there should be a good amount of room in there for air to escape, so this should work pretty well. But it's like you couldn't do push-pull unless you wanted to have everything inside the case, in which case you have even less space in it. So despite the fact that it's a very large case physically, like the way that they've designed it makes it harder to, it makes there less room to work than you think. Like I say, you'd end up having to put all the fans inside the case. You couldn't do push from inside and pull from the outside. I wanted to mount the radiator for that, for the Kingpin on the back. You see all those covers there. They've got like drive space mounts there that you can put in, that come with in the accessory box from the 719. You can put hard drive mount bays back there, and you can put like, this is supposed to be like a workstation case, I guarantee, like a server case or something. It's even actually a lot, you can do dual systems in it. Like the bottom left there, you can see you can mount an ITX board, and there's even like you can take the back panel off there and swap it out for like an adapter that of course is sold separately. Like everything with this case is sold separately. It didn't even come with fans. I'm a little irritated about that. Like, not gonna lie, a case that costs as much as this one did, which I think it was about $200, and as big as it is, for the obvious freaking reasons you're gonna use it, to not come with any fans, and like none of the adapters that this thing needs to do any of the other things it can do come with it either. So I like the design of it, I like the look of it, but shame on Phanteks for not including anything. It's like, if I didn't own pardon my language, but a bitch load of fans already, I'd have nothing to work with, and I would have had to have ordered something and then built this later. So I assumed maybe I should have read. It's probably on me for not reading it. I'm sure it says somewhere, like on their website, that it doesn't come with anything. But I usually make the assumption most cases come with at least a couple fans. Their other one that I have came with fans, so this one not coming with any surprised me. I was not happy with that. And like I say, even though it says you can use 140mm fans on the top, which you would think would indicate you could use a 280mm radiator, like the case is not as deep as it should be. So because it's not that deep, like I say, you end up bumping into your RAM and so forth with fans. If it was like an inch deeper, you could put in your board and put the radiator out just a little bit, and then the fans would have fit and everything would have been fine. So I know I'm bitching a lot about the case. I do like the way it looks, and there's room for a lot of stuff in it. It's just, I found it surprisingly harder to work in than it should have been. And then the other problem so like I say, it's really my fault for getting the 280mm radiator. I should have waited and then ordered a 360. It would have been better for cooling the processor anyway, and then it would have been, like I said, it would have fit in this case better and allowed me to do both things, because you can take those back plates off, as I was talking about a minute ago, and then you can mount fans there. So you can use that as a radiator mounting point if you want. So that's nice. It's just, again, this thing really doesn't work well with 140mm or anything. You can mount a fan, like as the exhaust fan, so I put one of my Chromax fans up here to exhaust. That's cool. And then I put one of my older Phanteks fans, like again, one of that came with my other Phanteks case, on the bottom here to pull in some cool air from below and blow it up. So we're going to have intake, and then exhaust at the top and out the back. So it should kind of create like a cross breeze like that. So I think that'll be good for cooling. You can also put more 120mm fans down here if you have them. I don't have anything that matched this. A lot of my fans are in use in my workstation, so I'm going to have to order more, and I can add more stuff later and then improve my cooling a bit if I don't like how well it's running. So we have options. The Glacier one, also the other problem that I have with that, amazingly, these are all Asetek. So you saw me earlier put like the cap kind of over top of the pump section. Well, I found that it was cockeyed, and I couldn't figure out why it wasn't fitting to it correctly. Well, what had happened is, for any of you who have ever used an Asetek cooler, you know that like the mounting hardware on it is like this. They have different ones for like Intel and AMD or so forth that you screw onto the pump. Well, you take it out of the box, it's already pre-assembled. It has the Intel one on it by default. I hooked it up and installed it and everything. I thought was fine. Well, it turned out that the mounting kit for the Intel mounting bracket on it was not quite 100% turned onto the pump. So like there's like little teeth that mesh, and it wasn't turned 100%. So the pump was on there just slightly cockeyed, so it looked cockeyed when I put on the freaking cover of it. So once I figured that out, I was able to just turn it slightly, finish mating the the pump with the Intel mounting bracket, and then that cover plate fit on it straight. So now it looks good. The Thermaltake memory looks really good. I did figure out how you're supposed to put RGB on it if you want. There's a Thermaltake all-in-one kit called the Flow kit, spelled FLOE, and it has not only the CPU cooler, but it has tubes on both sides, and one of them runs to like a kit that fits over top of the RAM that you screw into place, and so you can water cool your RAM and water cool your CPU with the same kit. So that's what that RAM is allowing you to do if you so desire. The other problem I ended up having was just trouble hiding the wires, which you look at this thing and you say, how is that possible? It's huge. Well, you see I used the custom cable extensions. I would have been better off if I bought custom cables, not cable extensions. Now, I did look for that and wasn't able to find any right away on Amazon, and just kind of said, screw it, I'll buy the extensions. Well, so that means I've got, the cables back there that came with the power supply all bundled up in a ball pretty much, and then the extensions come off them and look nice out here, but the wiring in the back is an effing rat's nest. I did a pretty good job of, I went back and did it 2 or 3 times, and I tried to tie things off and make them, smooth them out as much as I could in different areas, and some of it's like laying on top of the power supply, and some of it's in the pocket here, all around. It did work, but it was a little bit difficult to close up the back of the case, but now it's all in there. It's in there snugly, safe and sound. I think it's going to be okay. And then I did put, like I said, one of that other Phanteks case in the bottom, or fan. But I think it looks nice. They came with the combs pre-installed. You can't even take them off. You could add more if you have them, but as far as it came with 2 combs per wire set, per extension, I should say. And you can see that there's some on there and there's some there, but they're already on there. They're they're not there's no open ending to the teeth. It's just wrapped around the wires, so you can move them up and down. It keeps it nice and straight. You don't have to figure anything out. They're just done for you. So kind of dig that. The thing I thought you guys would think was interesting is look how big this thing is compared to the workstation that I already have. So this is the Phanteks Evolve X. This is the Phanteks 719 on the left here, and I'll move back a little bit further just to give you a better idea of how much taller and larger that case is. That's what I think is crazy, is you look how big that sucker is. I almost kind of feel like the one on the left would make the better workstation, and the Evolve X would make the better gaming PC, and that sometime in the future, maybe what I'll do, it'd be a lot of work, and I don't know if it's worth it to screw with it or not, but I might try reversing them and putting the gaming rig in, the Evolve X, which is a little bit smaller and more compact, but still has, the nice thing about that one, I think actually, is it would support the 280mm radiator better. Versus the one on the left here, which of course, for some reason, despite being a huge case and having tons of room for drives and all this other good stuff, and it just doesn't work well with 280mm radiators. So anyways, that's been my experience today. It's been a pain in the neck at certain stages getting it figured out where I could put the radiator, where it would all kind of mesh together nicely and look good. But the colors look nice. It's just a nice gray and black. They call it anthracite gray. That's what Phanteks calls that case color, and I think everything matched up pretty good. I thought the RAM was more of a gray color on the Amazon site, but it turned out to be black as well. But I think it looks nice. I hope you guys like the way that it turned out. And what I'm going to do here next is get it started up and make sure that the machine is working, make sure that the RGB on the pump works. There won't be much lighting in this case. Like the Kingpin card lights up, and of course there's a little OLED screen, and then the Phanteks screen on the, again, the little, well, I don't know what kind of screen it is. It's not OLED, but the little panel that's on the water block cover should light up whatever color patterns we want to control it. And I have it all hooked up to the motherboard's the Aura Sync header on the motherboard, the RGB digital RGB header. So should work, but we'll see if it does or not in a minute here. Be one sec. You can see it is up and running. I'm having a problem with the extreme memory profile for some reason. I've tried like there's XMP1 and XMP2, and neither one of them seem to work correctly. It's like it won't post with those enabled, and I have to shut it off, and then when it starts back up the second time, it'll just go back to the BIOS and tell you that it didn't, successfully post because the system's unstable. So apparently, whatever the problem is, maybe this memory is just not good enough to run at the rated speed, or maybe it's something else. But I got to run through and update a bunch of stuff like the BIOS and get everything up to date within Windows and so forth, and then maybe I can go back if there's, like I said, if there's a BIOS update, and see if it'll work after that. And if not, then I might have to return this memory and try something else, which is too bad because it looks nice. But there's other brands or whatever I can go with. I just wanted to get up and go. And like I said, I have extra memory in another computer I can put in this just to keep it working until I find something that works at the rated speed. So if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. We're going to try something else. But you can see that the case has like a nice little lighting strip there along the base, which is cool. And then you've got the ROG symbol on the board lit up, and then you've got this infinity mirror thing they call it on the Phanteks AIO, so that looks nice. And then the board's got a little on the IO shield on the back there, you've got a little bit more lighting, so you can kind of set up a bunch of stuff. And then the case itself, see on the top here, there's like a lighting area, a little strip of light, so you can control all this stuff from within Aura Sync. Once I get all that stuff set up and working, it'll look pretty nice. But that said, hope everybody liked the video. It definitely took me longer than I thought it would to get this thing put together, because like I said, my choice to pick that 280mm radiator, it does seem as though that limited where I could put other things, and it just made it harder to work. But appreciate you guys watching. If you like the video, please leave a comment in the comment section below. Consider subscribing to the channel, and stick around here soon. I'll be doing some benchmarks and so forth with this new 11th Gen i9. I just, like I say, it took longer than it should have today, and I figured it'd be a few days before I could get a video out if I tried to do everything in one video. So appreciate you guys again watching, and we'll talk to you again real soon. Bye.